Hi, everybody. Welcome to Conversations with the Soul. As you can see, hey, let's get this a little, there we go. As you can see, it's been very snowy here in northern Illinois, which is a lot of fun. It's always, this is one of my favorite views, is to be able to look out my window. And believe it or not, it's how I relax most of the time. I just look out my window and I watch the squirrels running around. They're highly entertaining. You know, they bounce across the snow and they climb up the trees and they chase each other. And, you know, I'm very easily entertained. Good morning, Karen. Nice to see you. And so this is moving to the woods was one of the best things that I ever did. So if you don't know who I am, I'm Rita Hickman. And I'm a body-mind expert, as well as a shiatsu massage therapist, and I'm an intuitive master healer. So this week, we are talking about kind of like hacks to deal with everyday things that come up. And today's topic is about how you were taught to be a good little girl and how that doesn't really work in today's world. So let me give you a little bit of a backstory. You know, I was raised in the generation, in the time of life, and with my family and where I was. Hi, Sherry, nice to see you. Where I was taught to make people happy. I was taught how to, you know, make sure nobody got mad, make sure that everything stayed calm, that if I had a problem, hi, Heidi, nice to see you, that if I had a problem that I needed to deal with it on my own, to, you know, if I was crying or hurt or upset, I better figure it out because, you know, nobody's really going to be there for me. And when I would behave, hi, Pam, nice to see you. And when I would behave like a normal child, you know, it didn't work out very well. It didn't work out well to be emotional or be hurt or upset or have feelings or to not be a little adult. You know, and so I was taught to be a very good girl, and I was taught to be a high achiever and to get good grades and how to make people smile. And the problem with that is I never really learned how to navigate relationships, because my job in every relationship was to be the one that fixed everything, to be the one that made the people around me happy, that was the guiding light, was the hope, was the positivity, was to take away any problems or issues. Hi, Jennifer. Good to see you today. To take away any problems or issues that somebody in my life might have, especially somebody that I cared about. I was taught that that was the definitive definition of a good girl, of somebody that I was supposed to be. And those skills are amazing. The ability to be a light and be positive and care about people and look ahead. They're so powerful and empowering because, you know, you're the smartest one in the room. You're the one who's paying attention. It puts you in a very strong place. But here's the downside. The downside is I spent decades, probably about 35 years or so, learning how to not make people mad, how to not upset people, how to make their life smoother. And so I didn't know how emotions really worked. I didn't understand how interpersonal relationships or getting mad or having fights or conflict, I didn't understand how any of it worked. I think most of us are nervous around conflict because we haven't had much experience with it, because it's unfamiliar, it's unknown territory, because every time we got mad, we either didn't like ourselves because we blew up and we behaved in a way, you know, we didn't want to behave, or that we felt wasn't being our true authentic self or the nice person we're supposed to be. Or we learned how to navigate the situation. You know, we learned how to make people's favorite foods and how to greet them with a smile and how to smooth things over and how to time things so that it would set well or would cause the least amount of upset. What I didn't learn was how to stick up for myself, how to walk into a room and know that if anybody came at me, if anybody was having a bad day and decided they wanted to take it out on me, that I could stand up for myself. So over the last few years, I've really had, over the last, let's say, 5 to 7 years, I've had a lot of great experiences where it's in my best interest to stand up for myself, to say what's on my mind, to speak what's in my heart, and to do it in a way that might be loud, that might be confrontational, that might say things that don't make people happy and maybe they don't like me. Now, a lot of women, I find, they get to that point because one day they wake up and they decide, I just don't care anymore. This stuff is crap. I'm not dealing with it. And they disassociate and they detach. And that's not really a great relationship builder either, because then that takes you down the path of not having intimacy with the people that you care about, and not being closer to them, and not giving them permission to be closer to you and for them to have their feelings. When we're always composed and only waiting until we're pushed into a corner in order to say what we want to say. Hi, Annette, nice to see you. Or express our feelings, or to get mad, or to hold somebody accountable. And not mad as in crazy mad, as in I've lost control and now I'm off a cliff. But mad as in, you know what, I'm mad and I'm not going to take this anymore. I'm not going to tolerate it. And this is the way that I need it to be. So, okay, one of the reasons I never went further with those feelings is because I didn't know how it would turn out. So if you came from the same sort of spot, if you were like me, let me give you a little bit of insight and tips. Hi, Michael. How wonderful to see you today. Let me give you a couple tips on how these things work. So let's say you make somebody mad. Let's say, hi, Melissa. Let's say that they trigger. You touch the thing that makes them upset and they lose their cool and they go crazy. It could be on the internet. It could be in your marriage. It could be at work. It could be whatever. But you've done something that makes somebody else lose their cool. Now, a couple responses that we have is, fight. We fight back, and that's when we start swinging. Flight, we totally run away, go hide in the bathroom or cry, and that's normal. I mean, there's no problem with that. Trust me, those are perfect responses, or we'll disassociate, or we'll freeze and try to smooth everything over. We go into those coping skills. And then usually on the other side, what happens is we feel like we screwed everything up and that we have to somehow fix everything. We have to make everything perfect again. We went into our coping skill. We didn't want to do it that way. We didn't want to be that person. And now we don't like ourselves very much, because we were supposed to be cool and composed and above all of this and not emotional. And if we're going to fight, then we need to fight with quiet, tight voices. And we need to fight with words which are non-judgmental and showing our emotions and taking ownership. We need to do this in an adult and mature way. We need to be above the situation and control our feelings. That's what we've been taught. That's what adults do. And so the problem with that is that we never really get a good grasp on how this stuff works. So one of the insights I've gotten is that when you make people mad, a lot of times they get over it. And if they don't get over it, a lot of times you can come in and have another conversation with them. If somebody cares about you, if somebody wants to have a relationship with you, then they'll get mad and they will say things or do things which are inappropriate and which hurt your feelings and shouldn't happen. And then after they do that, they feel better. And after they feel better, they're open for conversation and dialogue. And the same thing happens to you. When you get mad, you're going to say things and do things which are inappropriate and which hurt people's feelings and which are lashing out. You're going to do these things. That's actually pretty normal. And what happens is on the other side, instead of feeling guilty or angry or justified, and you know what, feeling that feeling of justification, like, well, if you didn't push me to the end, I wouldn't have done this. You know, it's your fault. You deserved this. That's that same guilt sort of feeling. It's just the flip side of the coin. It's the, I feel guilty and so I need to protect myself now and I need to blame you because of it. So instead of going there, let's look at it as in getting mad is a natural, normal human experience. Expressing things which are dramatic and loud and crazy and kind of mean and hurtful, that's normal. Yeah, you can't take words back. You know, if you say something, you can't take them back. But what it can do is it acts as an opportunity to learn how to fight, to learn how to express yourself, and how to be emotionally intimate with somebody else. So instead of internalizing it and always being in a good mood and laughing and being happy and problem solving and waiting until you're pushed up against the wall or you're sick or you need surgery or your body's falling apart, maybe it's a good opportunity to learn about how fighting actually works. To learn that you can be crazy and they can be crazy and it's okay. Until I let myself go to the other side, to the dark side, until I let myself do that, until I let myself be a crazy lady, I didn't really understand how this stuff worked. I'd stand in judgment and I'd tell people, well, I'm controlling my emotions. Why aren't you? You need to be above this. Clearly I'm better than you. What's wrong with you? Why aren't you treating me this way? I didn't become comfortable with conflict until I had conflict. I didn't become comfortable with expressing myself until I had lots of experiences of expressing myself. So if you're scared to do this, and I totally don't blame you, I totally don't blame you, because conflict is a scary thing. People say things and do things which, you know, they storm out and they slam doors and they drive away and, you know, all of that. But here's what I would suggest. I would suggest that in order to get more comfortable with this, get mad before you get mad. Don't wait until you're pushed up against the wall and you feel like you have no other choice and you're totally out of control. If you want to learn about conflict and how to navigate this, especially, oh my gosh, in a world that we're living in where conflict is everywhere, people are out to look for somebody to beat up, and if you are a nice person, you will be a target because you are safe. You're safe for them to express their feelings and their emotions to, because in other areas of their life, they're not safe. So if you want to be more comfortable with this, if you want to not walk around being angry at everybody because they're, you know, because you seem to have a target on your back and feeling like you're suppressing things and getting more anxious and more sick and more problems are happening, try getting mad before you get mad and start experimenting with it a little bit. And what that means is when you have something to say it with the emotion that you have. If you do it early, before it becomes something that you're totally out of control about, that you've had it, that you're done, you're walking away, no more. If you do those things before you get to that point, then you can course correct in the middle of it. You can pay attention to how the other person is responding. You can be present to it. You can be present to conflict just as much as you can be present to joy and peace and happiness and lovey-dovey and unicorns and rainbows and stuff. You can be present to conflict too. You can be present to expressing yourself and watching the dynamics and watching the interplay, knowing that it's a test, it's an experiment where you're also expressing yourself. And when you do this, when you play with this a little bit, pay attention to the person that's engaged with you and pay attention to you, not just in the moment, but pay attention over the next few days or weeks or months. Now, when you fight, when you express yourself, don't do it in a way that's tight and superior and above and cold and chilly. Do it in a way that actually has the emotion that you're feeling, anger or hurt and frustration, because that's what a lot of people read. They don't read your words. If you're talking, they're going to be like blah, 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 blah. They're not going to listen to your words. What they listen to and feel is your energy, is what you're giving off. And if you are, you're welcome. And if you are tightly controlled, they don't feel your energy. They feel nothing because you're internalizing it all. So they don't feel anything about you, and so you don't have much of an impact. If you're going to express yourself, you need to express yourself, hi Tiffany, in a way that actually has an impact and makes a difference in the world. So let's say you get mad, you test it out, you're going to, be frustrated or hurt or whatever, and opportunities are everywhere. They are everywhere to be hurt or frustrated or upset and to express yourself to the person that's upsetting you. And try it out. Watch where the dynamics go. Pay attention. If you went too far and you need to run away, run away. Run to the bathroom, lock the door, excuse yourself, apologize, go to the car and drive away. Be prepared for these options, for these things to happen, for you to trigger the other person. Be prepared to take your Xanax. Be prepared, ahead of time with your chamomile tea, and play with it and get comfortable with expressing how you feel. Because in a lot of relationships, we're so distracted and we're so pulled in so many different directions that we really don't have the ability to be present to the people that we love. And so if you as a person have a challenge and you internalize it, then you are turning the person that you care about or somebody that was important in your life into a bully, into somebody who's not a really good person. You're turning them into that because you're not letting them know in a way that they can hear that if they want to get along with you better, if they want to have a better relationship, that they need to behave differently, that they need to do something a little bit differently. They're not going to get that unless they feel you. If you're just talking about it and say, well, I told you need to do this, and I told you need to do that, and even if it's in a tight, controlled way, they still feel that numbness. There's that, what's going on, I don't know, it's unknown, I'm going to, okay. You still give up your power when you don't express not just through words, but through your feelings, how you feel. When you don't do that, then you give the people that you care about a real disservice, because then they never know. They never know how to take care of you. And then when you've had it, when you've told them 1,000 times, and now you've decided you've disassociated, now you don't care, now you're ready to walk away, now's when you express this stuff, they're blindsided. And that's cruel. It's cruel to blindside the people who are important to you in your life, not just living in your household with you, but your friends. Hi, Miriam. Your friends and your coworkers and your boss. Yes, you need to have some emotional control, but you also need to show how you feel and express it, especially if you get angry or mad. And then, as I said, watch yourself. Watch how it flows. Watch how you feel. Oh, I got mad. I said something. Now I feel better. Oh, I said something. They got upset. They got hurt. They didn't know how to handle it. They attacked back. But wait, look. They made an adjustment to their behavior. Interesting. So one of the problems that women have is we look at things and we say, well, why do I have to get mad in order for you to make a change? Why do I have to be that person? Because you do. And it's okay. It's normal and it's human. And when you let yourself be that person on a more regular basis, then the people in your life start to quickly change because they don't want to hurt you. They don't want you to be upset. They really don't. They don't want that conflict either. They don't want those problems. And so they will learn as well, and they will start to adjust themselves, and they will start to adjust how they treat you, including the office bully, including the bullies in your life. Because when you stand up to bullies, it's because they're insensitive, they're numb, they're not paying attention. Good morning, Yulila. They're not paying attention, and you have now gathered their attention like you wouldn't believe. And so they might react in the moment, and they may behave just like you, like a human being, and crazy, and say things which are inappropriate and mean, and pull punches and say the worst thing that they could possibly say to hurt you. They will have not much control either. granted, yes, there is the line here. We're not talking about physical abuse. That's a whole different ball of wax. We are talking about emotions, you know, with relatively healthy people. So that's my caveat. When you do that, watch how they change or adjust over, as I said, the days, weeks, months, and years. And be comfortable with doing that, with letting them know in a way that they can hear how you feel so that they can take better care of you, so that they can become more intimate with you and closer. Because to get past the texting and the phones and the webs and the internet and the distractions and the politics and the work and the day and the tired and the needs to be done, and to get past all of that, we have to express ourselves in a way that people can feel, not just with words. They have to feel us too. So that's your homework assignment today. Your homework assignment today, and I'll keep it small and easy, which is to look for a situation that you would like to express yourself, that you would like to say something that's bothering you, and you'd like to say it in a way that has some emotion behind it. Look for that situation, and then wait for the opportunity to arise. I had a good friend who would always say, you just wait for the door to open. You watch and wait for the door to open. So when that time is there, take it. Take that opportunity, because you'll be prepared. So look for the thing that's bothering you that you really want to address, or you kind of, even if it's just a small thing you want to address. Working with something small is a great way to start. Something small, easy, taking out the garbage, whatever that you want to express. And then look for the opportunity to express it and see how it turns out. And it might not turn out the way that you think it does, but you can't do it wrong. And don't just do it once. Do this a few times. One of our drawbacks is we try something and we say, it didn't work. See, that was a disaster. And we turn around and run away. And we don't do it again. Instead, we have to try things a few times. We have to get comfortable with it. We have to get familiar. And the other person has to get comfortable and familiar with it too, because you're now showing a whole new side of you that you never showed before. And they don't know how to deal with it. They don't know what to do. And that's okay. So that's your homework assignment today. Look for something that makes you irritated and frustrated, and then look for an opportunity to say the things that you need to say. Okay? So anyways, one more thing I want to add in. I did this great webinar Monday night, and it was on how to stop hiding behind the mystical. Hi, Bajal. How to stop hiding behind the mystical and really start growing and strengthening and polishing your intuition so that you can make a big difference in the world. You know, if you have gone to weekend workshops for Reiki or healing touch or any sort of energy tools or pendulums or chakras or whatever, if you've gone through these workshops and classes and trainings and certifications, but you're not using them, it's probably because you aren't confident in your intuition. And there's a good reason you're not confident with your intuition, because you haven't been taught how to strengthen and polish that mirror, that cornerstone of your intuition. So I would invite you to take a look at the webinar. I include the link in the text. Take a look at the webinar and really get some great information from it, because it's so jam-packed. And if you take a look at it and it doesn't float your boat, send me an email and we'll figure something out. I'd love to dialogue with you, and I'd love to, give you something special and fun just for taking the time of watching it. And if you watch it, I would also suggest you take advantage of what I'm giving people. I'm giving people a breakthrough call for intuitive healing, on how to really polish their intuitive healing, and I'm only going to do it for a week. So only a few days this week, because I've got a lot going on. But there's so many women that are in doubt and questioning and worried and frustrated and spinning around and stuck, and because they don't trust their intuition. They hear things, they know things, but they don't act on them because what if they're wrong? Or they're getting thousands of different messages. And so I'd really love to help a lot of the women out there that are looking for that. So watch the webinar, sign up for your phone call with me. They're only 30 minutes and they're free, because I really want to help people and move us in a good direction. And that's it for today. All right, look up in the comments, and I hope to hear from you soon. I'll see you tomorrow, 8:15. Ciao.